Very nice to see you again.
Great to be here.
한국 분들에게 당신을 직접 소개해 주시겠어요?
I can. I'm Jeff Foster, Chief Engineer up at Air, and I record music for a living.
사실은 당신이 굉장히 세계에서 알려진 그런 작품들, 영화 작품들, 그다음에 밥스타의 앨범에 참여했었잖아요.
Very true.
밥스타 3번 수상하셨고 그래미 3번 수상하신 게 맞아요?
I think something like that.
지금 약간 그 바프타 3번 수상하고 그래미 3번 수상한 거 맞아? 하는 게 이게 취조 같죠?
No, I just don't remember. I'm afraid I don't hold a lot of sway with awards because I think that they are often they tell a story that is not how good the music is, and that actually they are a distraction from the music itself. You know, it's part of a media machine.
Yes.
So, you know, and if you have an award, you have to like the award, who it's given to the following year, and you have to like who it was given to the year before. And I don't know anybody that does that. So, you know, they are part of a process that you know the industry has and needs. But I don't follow them that closely, I'm afraid.
예상외로 굉장히 그 겸손한 답이 나왔어요.
I have to confess, it took me 3 years to find out I had my first Grammy.
바프타하고 그래미는 사실은 한국 분들에게 많이 굉장히 알려졌고 있고 그거를 그래미는 한국에서 중계를 할 정도거든요. 바프타도 최근에는 그 녹화 방송을 볼 수 있거든요. 그래서 그거를 제가 앞에 한국 팬분들에게 설명하기 위해서 말씀드렸어요.
And it's fair enough. And as I said, I consider myself very lucky to have received the awards. But yes, I'm not someone that chases them.
매우 그렇게 생각합니다. 왜냐하면은 당신만큼의 실력을 갖춘 음악인이나 뮤지션들이 상을 쫓아서 그걸 했다면 그러한 실력을 갖추기 위한 어려울 것이라고 생각해요. 오로지 그 일에 헌신했기 때문에 그 상을 받을 수 있을 거라고 생각해요. 그 능력을 갖출 수 있고요.
I think that's probably true. I mean, I do believe that, you know, the pursuance of excellence, which is what all artists, great artists do, means that you are inevitably bringing great work to the public. And so, you know, it will be, you know, applauded in various formats. So, you know, I think it's the process of trying to make a great record or trying to make a great film that is important.
이렇게 훌륭하신 분이 거의 15년간 음악을 쉬었던 한국에서 온 저 같은 낯선 뮤지션의 앨범을 전체를 맡아서 프로듀싱을 같이 해주셨어요. 작업하면서의 어떤 힘들었던 점, 소감, 느낌 같은 거 말씀해 주실 수 있어요?
Well, the first time I met you, you were just another client.
Yes.
And so for me, you know, I try very hard to treat every client that I have with, you know, respect for their music and try and understand what it is they're trying to create and give what input I can to that. So, you know, it doesn't really occur to me that, you know, there isn't an issue with where an artist is from or whether or not they are big or small, because to me, the joy of the job is taking the music that's presented and saying, what can I do? What can I bring to it to make it, you know, as good as I think it can be? And obviously there's an element of that is, you know, taste. So it's like if my taste is in alignment with your taste, then we will make a record together that feels how you would like it to be. And obviously if it's not in alignment, then, you know, we don't work together because that's how these things are. So, you know, I think for me it was, you know, I viewed it very much as, you know, this is a new artist, new music, new experience. And it was very lovely music. You know, I remember really liking it. It was a logical thing that we would go on to maybe work again if you had other stuff, because you seemed to enjoy the results I had. I enjoyed making them. And that is, you know, how one forms a great creative collaboration.
지금 여러 질문에 제가 궁금했던 것에 답을 한 번에 다 주셨어요.
See, that's the problem with giving me the questions beforehand, you see.
그래서 안 드리려고 그랬는데 요청하셔가지고 드렸거든요. 역시 예상대로 진행되지 않고 있어요.
I'm sorry. Well, you can ask them again. I can give you different versions of the answer.
자, 다시 돌아가서 How are you?
Back on track. So I got a load of Grammys and a load of BAFTAs, and it's brilliant. I love it because it's just a celebration of how amazing our industry is. It's a celebration of what we do,
yeah.
and it's something for people to aspire to, which is very much what the young musicians need, and. It's something that you can, it's a dream to achieve.
지금 진실을 말하는 거예요? 뭐예요?
I'll give you another answer.
다른 사람들의 생각을 말해주는 거예요, 지금?
I wouldn't say it was a different answer. Just more concise, more upbeat.
아, 사람들이 원하는 답이라고 그러지, 그런 걸.
Yeah, but it's also, there's truth to it. As a kid, I mean, I had a list of things that I wanted to achieve in my life. And, very definitely getting a Grammy, working on an Oscar-winning film or a BAFTA-winning film was on that list of things to do. And there was a string of artists that I wanted to work with, and I really want to work with them. So I think it's true in terms of what it creates as a motivation, to do, work on projects and get. I've been very lucky that my career has allowed me to do work on projects where these things have happened. But at the same time, it's also true that I don't hold a lot of store by them because I know how they work, and so fundamentally in my mind, there is an inevitable falsehood to them because you do have to go. Well, if I got it this year, my record was great. Next year, the record that wins it is also great, and the year after, it's all and nobody believes that, and nobody will go, oh, the best record always won. They're like, oh, why did that one win? So I think both answers are valid.
그렇게 짧지만은 않았어요. 짧긴 짧았지만. 다시 그러면 그 질문으로 돌아가서 예전에 메일러 그 그래미 첫 번째 수상을 알게 됐다고 했어요, 당신이. 그때 메일을 확인하고 느낌이 그때는 어땠어요?
I was surprised. Not because it is a record that I'm particularly proud of. So I felt like, yes, it would be a worthy candidate, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was a moment, it's like winning a lottery ticket. You're happy for a short while, but then life goes on.
또 한 가지는 당신이 그래미 어제 첫 번째 수상한 곡이 조니 미첼의 Both Sides of You 맞나요?
Yeah, so it's Both Sides Now, Joni Mitchell.
Yes. 그 노래 보컬을 제가 들었을 때 뭐라 그럴까요? 굉장히 울림이 컸고 아주 간단한 녹음인 것 같지만 이런 소리를 어떻게 만들어낼 수 있고 또 아티스트는 어떻게 이런 소리를 낼 수 있었지? 너무너무 굉장히 뭐라 그럴까요? 저한테는 많은 스스로에게 질문을 만들어놨던 소리였어요.
Yes, well, it was a very special record, and actually, the making of that record is very close to my heart in terms of what artistically what happened, which was that we had an orchestra, we had Joni, we had a rhythm section, and we all played live complete takes, and that brought an energy and a focus for everybody, I think. And I think that you hear that in the record. That's one of the reasons it's such an amazing record. And I can't take the credit for arranging it. I can't take the credit for, the playing. What I can say is, we were able to put together a space, the headphones and the mics and what have you, whereby everybody was able to perform in that way, and they were able to feed off of each other and react to what each other was doing. And in so doing, we created a safe space, if you like, 60 musicians to make something special. And I think, as you know, in the way that I like to make records, singing vocal lines all the way through the song, it helps a lot. It helps with the storytelling. So I believe all great art is basically storytelling. And if you have, if you have this opportunity to tell a story well, you end up creating great work. And if you sing it all the way through as a song rather than bit by bit by bit, which is how we make a lot of pop records and a lot of orchestral stuff for film or what have you. We'll do a few bars here and a few bars there. But if you actually play it from end to end, there is a sort of emotional and intellectual journey that goes alongside that, and it creates something that we connect with as artists and also as listeners. The audience will feel a real story versus something that's cobbled together and looks like it's a story but doesn't quite fit. And the people, in my experience, even if they don't know what it is that they're hearing, will recognize that reality that making a record like that in that way does.
감정의 연결성, 에너지의 흐름 이런 걸 말하는 거잖아. 네가 한 번에 전체 곡을 계속 매번 반복해서 다시 녹음하는 방식. 나도 경험해본 감정의 연결성과 에너지의 전달력 그런 것 때문이겠지. 그게 곧 스토리텔링이라고 생각하는데 내 말이 맞을까?
Yeah.
나도 당신이 말한 것처럼 한국에서 이렇게 A 파트, B 파트, 버스, 코러스 이렇게 나눠서 그것보다 더 짧게는 4바만 나눠서 부르는 그런 식으로 녹음을 해왔습니다. 그런데 당신하고 녹음하면서 물론 굉장히 힘든 시간을 겪었죠. 노래 녹음할 때 특별히. 그런데 당신의 말에 공감하지 않을 수가 없었어요. 그래서 지금은 당신이 없어도 당신처럼 서울에서 보컬 녹음을 진행해요. 계속 전체 노래를 계속 반복해서 녹음하는 방식이죠.
Brilliant.
그래도 공간도 다르고 당신도 없고 같이 녹음하는 사람들 장비도 다르기 때문이기도 하지만 뭔가 당신이 존재할 때 확실히 심리적 부담인 것인지 목소리가 뭔가 더 감정적이고 좋아요. 우리는 그것을 제프 컴프레서라고 부르기로 했어요.
Your husband is right.
Yes.
As I said, it's for me. It's it's the storytelling. And if you think about if you sit at a dinner table and talk to your friends about something that happened or something that you believe in, you don't go back and edit it. You don't go back and tell the same bit over and over and over and say, let me see if I can get a better version of that. You tell the story through. And I think that's inherent in the way we tell stories and the way we used to hearing them and then connecting with them.
아마 제 생각에는 음악을 이제 그렇게 2마디, 1마디, 4마디 이렇게 잘라서 녹음하는 그런 방식의 음악들은 이제 더 이상 스토리텔링은 관심이 없는 음악들이 아닌가 싶어요. 그것은 또 다른 어떤 새로운 장르의 대중예술이 아닌가, 대중이 선호하는 대중예술이 아닐까. 저는 최근엔 그렇게 생각하게 됐어요. 파퓰러 뮤직이라기보다 대중음악이라보다 대중예술의 새로운 장르요.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have a new world with TikTok and Instagram
Yeah.
where we do it all in little bits.
이렇게 진지하게 음악에 대해서 얘기하다 보니까 궁금해졌어요. 당신이 음악에 관심이 있는 분야가 있어요? 예를 들면 자연이나 사회 환경 아니면 어떤 스포츠나 뭐든 좋아요. 요리든.
I like sailing.
배가 여러 가지가 있어요. 참치를 잡으러 가는 원양어선도 있고요. 그런데 한국에서는 이제 참치를 잡으려면 멀리 가야 되는 거고요. 여기서는 스페인에서 잡을 수 있으니까 그렇게 먼 거리는 아니네요. 어선도 있을 거고요. 그냥 단지 배 위에서 유랑하듯이 그렇게 세일링을 즐기는 것 그거 자체를 말하시는 건가요?
Yeah, sailing for pleasure. You know, the wind pushing the boat along through the waves. Lovely.
그래서 집으로 돌아갈 수는 있습니까? 계속 이렇게 흘러가서 한국까지 오셨으면 좋았을 텐데요.
Yes, that would be an adventure.
돌아오신다는 거죠. 그럼 백길을 잘 아세요?
Yes.
근데 당신 정말 스케줄이 꽉 찬 사람인데도 그런 배를 타고 바람을 즐길 시간이 짬짬이 나세요?
Not as much as I would like to. It's a case of, you find the windows of opportunity when you can. And obviously you're always at the mercy of the weather as well. So
원하는 만큼 어느 정도 되죠?
it depends. You know, as I say, it's a combination of work commitments and, the weather. Sometimes it's a few weeks. Sometimes it's a few days here, a few days there. So, it's very much a variable feast.
당신에게 가장 인상적이었던 어떤 그런 지역이 있어요, 항해하면서. 아니면 항해하면서 가장 인상적이었던 파도가 있었던 곳 말씀해 주실 수 있어요?
Yeah, I mean, what I like about sailing is that it allows you to sort of step outside of the hurly-burly of
헐리벌리.
modern life, and just be alone with your thoughts, really.
그러니까 특별히 더 선호하는 어떤 특별한 파도나 이런 그런 건 없는 말씀해 주실 게 별로 없을 수도 있는 거네요. 단지 배 위에 떠 있는 것 그것 자체를 즐기시는 거죠.
I think, like most things in life, it's the journey, not the destination. That that's the thing that you have to learn to enjoy.
이 앨범을 같이 작업한 사람으로서 당신이 이 앨범에 대해서 좀 한국 팬들에게 저의 한국 팬들에게 좀 소개를 해주실 수 있을까요?
This is an album, lyrically and I think also musically, this is an album that explores the journey, in fact, as we have just discussed. The idea that you're, in traveling through life, we arrive at discoveries and we arrive at emotional revelations that perhaps we weren't expecting, and certainly that we hadn't planned for. That is reflected. Some of these are, they are big moments in our lives, and we have some very bombastic and big music to sort of go along with that. And then we have some more intimate and sort of spiritual, if you like, tunes, which again just contemplate some of the sort of the deeper understandings that we get traveling through life.
이 앨범이 당신의 아주 위대하고 굉장한 음악 여정의 한 같이 작업하면서 한 점이 된 것에 대해서 굉장히 영광으로 생각하고 감사합니다.
Thank you.
우리가 보통 다양한 소재로 얘기를 하잖아요. 그런데 오늘 이렇게 아주 진지하게 얘기를 또 해보니까 이것도 나름 굉장히 뭔가 감동이 있고 또 다른 재미가 있는 것 같습니다. 우리 항상
감사합니다.
우리 녹음할 때 다양한 면을 가지고 있었잖아요. 논쟁도 있었고 즐거움도 있었고 울음도 있었고 기쁨도 있었고요. 그것처럼 말이에요.
Yeah, it was a journey.
Yes.
But I think, we've made a great sounding record. I'm very proud of it. So
감사합니다.
that's the aim.
나는 정말 굉장히 만족하고요. 제 인생에서 이 앨범과 이 사운드를 영원히 기억할 거예요. 모든 것이 흘러가지만 이 소리를 제 안에 넣고 간직할 거예요. 이 여정을 같이 해주셔서 대단히 감사합니다. 한국 팬들에게 감사합니다 한번 해주시겠어요?
Indeed, 감사합니다.
Very nice.
Excellent.
감사합니다. 오늘 이렇게 일요일 날 우리 인터뷰 마치고 또 녹음도 해야 되는데 이렇게 시간 내주셔서 너무 정말 감사합니다. My big G.
It was my pleasure.